Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Zach Levi again, making people angry again.
He's very pro-fan.
He is. He's very pro-fan. That's a bad thing to be current year in Hollywood, I guess. Now, we did a video on Zach Levi a couple of days ago talking about how he got himself in trouble because of the strike. He made comments about the strike he thought was dumb, that he wasn't allowed to talk about projects he did like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, now I want to be clear though, he's actually pro-union, pro-strike. He made like a big video about it before. I mean, there's no question about that. It's just that he's saying, I think the rules are overbearing. About, you know, not allowed to talk about that stuff with fans at cons, because apparently he's on the con circuit, and now he's making digs at Hollywood studios for putting out shitty movies.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about this. He had an interview in Entertainment Weekly, and everyone's like, oh my God, Zach Levi called Hollywood garbage.
Well, I'm glad somebody's being honest.
He didn't say everything was garbage. He said that you shouldn't watch the garbage movies. That's all he said, and I think that's common sense.
But to be fair, and he mentions that you see in a trailer one thing, and then you go to the movie and it's crap, and then, you know, but you didn't know that, but they got your money, they don't care. He says that.
Yeah.
He flat out says that, so we're going to talk about this. But before we get into it any further.
Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. If you do, you'll get a woohoo.
Woohoo!
There's your woohoo. There's your woohoo. So, yeah, you sent this to me, yesterday? That he's calling out the Hollywood studios for putting out garbage. I guess it was originally in this Entertainment Weekly article, but I'll go out to IGN.
Yeah, and actually it was our friend Jason who sent it over.
Jason, yeah, hat tip to Jason. Jason finds a lot of good stuff. Finds a lot of good stuff. Shazam 2 star Zachary Levi slams garbage that comes out of Hollywood. We have to actively not choose the garbage. So,
and I agree. I mean, but it's funny. Is this going to affect him getting work?
I don't think he cares. We'll take a side tangent here. Him and poor Stephen Amell. Look at this man. This is a man who got a talking to. I think Fran Drescher showed up at his house, but these guys both seem like they're active in the con circuit. I
know he was actually, Stephen Amell was actually setting up. Huh?
He was like a promoter. Like he was actually setting up
for different actors to be able to go to conventions and stuff.
Yeah. And so these guys are very active in the fan scene, and they're like, hey, you're punishing the fans, you know? And the greatest punishment a fan can endure is a shitty movie, especially if it's from an existing franchise. And he's like, hey, let's not.
Well, sadly, that's more common than not.
It is. Let's not watch this stuff. He said, appearing at the Chicago Fan Expo on Saturday, every time he does a convention, he gets in trouble. God, we got to get him on the show. We got to get this guy on the podcast.
I know he really liked Groundhog Day. So
he does like Groundhog Day. Yeah. Yeah. You know, well, tell people about that experience.
No, he likes Groundhog Day. Being that I was from, Punxsutawney, where Groundhog Day is, he was on a live stream once promoting his one. He used to have a nerd line of clothes or something. I forget what it was.
Yeah, he did something.
Anyway, it was a live stream, and they were asking people on the live stream. I was watching it because that was back when he was on Chuck, and I was like there, and people were like, "Where are people from?" And I said where I was from, and then one guy got excited and said, "Hey, we got one from," and he said Punxsutawney, and then he got all excited because he loves Groundhog Day. It wasn't even filmed there.
Yeah, it wasn't filmed in Punxsutawney. It's weird. It's like bizarro Punxsutawney, but it was actually filmed in like Illinois or something.
Yeah, it was Illinois, Woodstock, Illinois.
But yeah, he did. I was there. He got excited. He was like, "Hey, Groundhog Day."
So hey.
Anyway, he said the Shazam actor asked fans to actively not choose rubbish movies.
You know what I hear? Don't go see the Marvels.
I was thinking that because this movie sounds like a disaster.
About this earlier today.
I personally feel like the amount of content that comes out of Hollywood that is garbage, they don't care enough to actually make it great for you guys. They don't. Levi criticized certain movies' inability to live up to their hype. How many times you watch a trailer and go, oh my God, this looks so cool. And then you go to the movie and it's like, this is what I get. Levi, yeah.
Barbie. Sorry.
Last Jedi. The trailer actually looked pretty good.
We didn't go see it. Or Last Jedi we did. I'm thinking Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. No, actually the trailer looked like hot trash. We didn't even bother. To this day, I don't think you haven't watched Rise of Skywalker.
Nope.
I haven't watched it either. I have zero interest in watching it. That sequel trilogy is dead to me.
I haven't watched any recent Marvel films or shows either because I just no, don't care.
They know that once you've already bought the ticket and you're in the seat, they got your money.
True.
And the only way for us to change any of it is not to go the garbage. We have to actively not choose the garbage. It'll help. It'll help a lot. Again, fans have to speak with their wallets.
But the thing is, this might be happening anyway. This might happen as a result of these movies doing so bad, so poorly at the box office, that these studios and the shows, not doing well, and now their subscribers are down on these streaming services. It might be a result of that anyway. They're gonna. We already had Iger say they're going to be more limited on what they produce, and they're going to be, more, fiscally responsible with the budgets on what they produce. So they're only going to do things they think are going to do well, that fans are going to like, and they're only going to spend the money they have to spend to do that, which might mean they look like shit. But I'm just saying that Hollywood's already learning this lesson, and they're already trying to do that. They're already trying to make films and shows they know people are going to come see.
So I'm thinking 70s era Disney. After Walt died, Disney put out a lot of really cheap live action movies. And
I don't know if they're going to go cheap. I mean, they're going to go cheaper on the budget, but I think they're going to spend what they have to spend, because I don't think they want. I think they spend $100 million and it still doesn't do well in the theaters. They're not going to make much money. Yeah. If they spend $200 million and it's a thing that's going to do well, they'll make a lot of money back. They might get $1 billion. So it's worth the ROI is worth it. It depends. But he said they are going to be more picky about what they produce, and they're going to be tighter with the finances. And spend what they have to, but not go crazy.
I think they're also going to be tighter with the quality control, because Disney thought they were.
Well, they get how much crap over the special effects. Yeah. And now the VFX workers at Marvel are unionizing or trying to unionize. And this is one instance where I completely agree with them. They are so poorly treated that I will 100% back them on that one.
So he's talking about Shazam 2, which we haven't seen yet. We need to watch it. I like the first one. That was actually one of my favorite DCEU. I would say that and Wonder Woman were my two favorite.
Yeah, but now Rachel Zegler's in it, so I really don't care.
She just ruins everything.
I'm not joking. I actually was like, I think about watching it, and I'm like, I don't want to watch her.
Rachel Zegler's in it, yeah. But of course, they have to get a dig in there. Levi's Shazam 2 failed to bring in the audience. It had a mediocre critical reception. It earned just 133 million worldwide. He said the audience score is quite good. The critic score was, very oddly and perplexingly low, and people were insanely unkind.
We're seeing that with the Haunted Mansion too. We saw it with the Mario movies. The Mario movies still did well.
Well, it's got the IP, behind
it's not one of the top IPs in the world.
Yeah, it's Mario. I would say you have to try really hard to screw up Mario, but they did. They did very badly before. But that was money in the bank. Like, as long as this movie is not completely terrible, it's going to make bank. Everybody knew it was going to make bank. So he goes on to say, listen, I've been a part of things, and as much as I wish that they were good, I know that they're okay. I know they missed a lot. I'm not saying Shazam! Fury of the Gods is some perfect Orson Welles masterpiece, but it's a darn good movie. It's unclear whether he will return as Shazam, since the sequel was a flop.
Wasn't there a big problem too, though? Like, it was supposed to have, Black Adam was supposed to be in that, and then they ended up doing their own movie, and there was a whole thing with that going on.
That was, I don't know if we'll ever get a straight story on what happened there, but basically, The Rock came in as the villain
Zachary
and wanted
Levi
to take over.
called that out too.
Yeah,
he's been calling out all kinds of shit. I mean, I'll give him props for having the balls to do it, even though his fashion sense is a little lacking. He's got the balls to do it, and he, is out there being honest, and he definitely seems to have the fans in mind, because like what he was complaining about before with the rules, people are spending money to come to conventions. They come to conventions to see him, and then he's not allowed to talk about stuff they want to talk about. Like, they want to talk about their favorite Chuck episode. Can't talk about it. They want to talk about, Tangled. Can't talk about it. They want to talk about different things, different movies and shows, like the Shazam movie from 2019. Can't talk about it. So it is he's not wrong. Fans are spending money. They're driving all this way in. They're paying for hotels. They're coming in to see you, and then you're not allowed to talk to them.
So Squid King and I were talking about this situation yesterday with Zach Levi, and being angry that, he couldn't talk about things. And we're like, so what are you supposed to do? Spend, all that money in travel and expense to go to the convention. Be like, okay, so what can you talk about? Well, what I had for breakfast.
Right.
Oh, no, I can't talk about that because Lucky the Leprechaun, he's in the union.
Yeah, so no.
We can't even talk about that anymore.
Yeah, somehow the studio owns part of this brand, and if I talk about it, I'm in trouble. It's getting ridiculous. I mean, we're just joking on that regard. I'm making clear that we were kidding there. But he's
wait, we have to clarify that?
Yeah.
How do we know Lucky's not?
Damn well, somebody in the comments. Oh my God. Misinformation. This video should be null and void because of misinformation.
How do we know Lucky's not in the union? Because he's Irish? Is that what you're saying? Because he's Irish, that they wouldn't let him in the union?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. But he's out there talking, speaking for the fans in this instance, and then in the instance about talking about how, Hollywood needs to do better because fans are paying all this money to go see a movie. And for some people, that's a lot of money. Like, I know when we went to see The Last Jedi, or no, it was Force Awakens. Force Awakens. One of the things that made it, I didn't really care for it. One of the things that made it more upsetting to me was at the time, Neon had gotten laid off. And it was during, what was that, around the first recession we had? Like,
It was like 2015.
So it was a little bit after that, but you had gotten
there's a long tail. So that's the thing too. Like the last recession, there was a long tail. I didn't get laid off right away. It took a couple of years for it to catch up to us, where it was like, oh yeah, all the bad decisions that were making, were made in like 2009, 2010. They finally caught up to us.
Right. And so we didn't have much. And I was trying to do something and different things. And we were scraping it. And I scraped together all the money I could so that we could go see The Force Awakens. And then they didn't even put Han, Luke, and Leia together again, which is probably part of why I'm salty. But I'm just saying this is what it is for a lot of people, especially after the pandemic, especially with situations being the way it is right now and inflation being ridiculous and all that stuff. And a lot of people don't have it. And if they go, you're spending like $50-$60 to go to the movie with your family because you want to buy popcorn or whatever. And it's an event. And then you go and then you come out of there like, what was that? I can see why fans are upset. And I think that, for longest time, studios kept looking the other way. But after the pandemic and after the horrible returns in the last year or so, and the drop off on streaming, they're going to have to, go back to quality over quantity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd rather see, I don't watch a ton of movies every year anyway, because so many of them are garbage, but I'd rather see, 5 or 6 really good. Give me a couple, everything, everywhere, all at once, a year, something that's new, that's refreshing, that's solid, that's rewatchable. And I'm good.
I think Oppenheimer would be that one for this year. It's like,
it was really good.
It was something new and refreshing, is what I'm saying. A little bit weird, but
I think that
boobies.
And boobies, yeah, the boobies made no sense because he does not seem like the kind of guy that got a lot
Well, it was
of action.
butt plugs and everything everywhere all at once. It didn't make sense. So
it's true, but that went with the whole wacky, silly element that they were going for there. I don't know. We just don't have a lot of new stuff. But I think with a lot of these franchises, shit in the bed, basically. I think that we're gonna finally get some new stuff. But then the flip side, then the flip side of that is that studios aren't incentivized to try new things because they don't want to drop $150-200 million.
No, it's going to be worse on that regard, because they're basically saying, and Iger was basically saying the same thing. We're going to stick to more of the properties we know we're going to work, and so we're going to probably get less new things. The one thing about them getting the waivers to film on independents, at least those independents are doing something new. Yeah.
So this is they're talking about on Pajiba, right? They have 2 arguments here: Zach Levi and Charlie Kaufman. Charlie Kaufman, I guess, is not really all in on the strike, but he echoed the comments of Levi while speaking during a class at the Bosnian Cultural Center at the Sarajevo Film Festival. And he said the same thing pretty much. At this point, the only thing that makes money is garbage. It's fascinating. It makes a fortune. And that's the bottom line. It's very seductive to the studios, but also to the people who engage and become the makers of the garbage, especially if they're lauded for the garbage because they don't have to look inward or think long about what they're doing.
Well, it's kind of true. I'm the Marvels. I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a comment that was made too about, the Marvel movies and those interviews, something similar to that.
This is funny, though. This guy slammed the WGA writers. He said the difference between Levi and Kaufman's statements, however, is that Levi's were ostensibly in support of the SAG and WGA strike.
He's very much in support of the strike.
He is. And that's what's so funny, that they were slamming him.
But you can still be in support of something, but also be honest about something and point out the obvious, which is what we do all the time. You're like, you hate unions. No, we don't. We just hate stupidity, like the writer's strike. We agree with you for most everything except the fact that you're mandating writers' rooms.
Yeah, that's just not realistic.
There's just being honest and there's being stupid.
And, beyond that, we have people jumping into the comments on, look, I get that you feel passionately about it. We have people jumping in the comments on videos that have absolutely nothing to do with the strikes, trying to school me on the strikes. I'm like,
no, don't care. You're just making us go the other way.
No, that's exactly the thing. So I personally, and I did a couple scathing videos on the state of the union, the state of the unions, the state of the unions. And from an influencer's perspective, the massive overreach that these guys they're trying to police our content, people like us. And
they're trying to police the fans at conventions.
They're trying to police the fans.
They're telling them what they can and can't ask the actors.
It's like if you guys just say, hey, we're going to strike for better working conditions. We're doing this for you guys, for the fans. So yeah, of course we can talk about Chuck because it was 20 years ago.
Different. Or influencers, they're not part of the union.
They're not. We're not going to punish them.
We understand that's your job, and that's how you make a living, and you're not part of our union, but you're still, doing videos that might support us or might not support, whatever. You can still talk about the things that other movies that are in theaters to make sure we get work later. No, you're not allowed to talk about any of that stuff because if you talk about any of it, you're going to never be allowed to be in a union ever.
That's what I don't understand. Like by telling influencers they can't promote a new movie that comes out. If that movie fails at the box office, the studios are not incentivized to give those writers, those actors another shot.
Right.
Because they'll be like, well, the last movie you did freaking bombed. Hey, guess what? We, the studios, tried to promote it. You shut us down by telling the influencers they weren't allowed to talk about it.
The whole thing is what, at the end of the day, what the whole thing is because they know when normally they're the ones that get the cookies, the promotional money, all that stuff. Since they're not allowed to take it, that means that the influencers are the ones who the Hollywood's going to go out to, and they're going to offer them, a voice, the cookies, the money, things like that to come to the premiere, that kind of stuff. And they're pissed about it because they're not getting it, which they usually take the lion's share. Yep. And what's going to happen is these influencers are going to do what they ask. And then when the strikes are over, they're going to be like, they take all their cookies back. There's going to be no crumbs for the influencers. But good news, someday if you maybe possibly get offered a role in something, we'll let you in our union and you can pay us. So it's a win-win for them. They all make all the money no matter what.
Yeah.
But influencers are supposed to just not do anything and not only say positive things and not do their jobs because Hollywoods can't do their jobs because they're striking.
Yeah.
For the possibility of maybe paying them to be in the union.
Very, very, very myopic. But
anyway, continue.
Anyway, this guy, we'll wrap it up with this. But he basically said, this is Kaufman, not Zach Levi. He said that writers have been trained to eat and make the garbage too. As long as they're in that arena making the shit, you might as well have AI do it. And he said he's actually against AI, but he's basically like, you guys are making stuff that AI could make. And
AI would do it better. We know for a fact we tried it. AI does it better.
It does it better because if you're dealing with an existing franchise with expectations, the AI has something to look at and be like, this is what the fans want based on past performance. Because it's all numbers at that point.
Well, at this point, because there's so many projects, so many movies, so many things that they greenlit and they overdid it, they had to hire more and more writers. So you weren't always getting the best of the best. And, people that were coming in that might be just lazy and phoning it in, and you need better. And people are demanding better. We're like, we're not giving you our money unless you give us better. Now, I don't think that AI necessarily is the way to go, but I do agree with Neil on that it's unavoidable. It's going to happen. And the ones that are going to remain are the ones who can work within the system than the ones that can't. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm just telling you that's likely the reality of the situation.
I missed this. The very first sentence from Pajiba calls Zachary Levi a thirsty, problematic anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, right, because that automatically means you have to dismiss him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
AI can do your job too, Dustin. I'm just saying. So we're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
There we go, guys. Zach Levi, actually, I really would like to talk to him. I think he seems pretty solid. I do. I think he seems very pro-fan. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.